Hello, in this video I'm going to talk you through how to change the colour of these green towels, i.e. a green product, so that they become yellow towels or this ochre colour. And we're going to use a different colour mode than RGB for this. We're going to use lab as our colour mode because the detail of an image in lab is on the luminance channel and the colours are on the A and B channels. So my first step is to go into my image menu of my product shot and change the mode to lab. And you'll notice in the channels panel that we've now got lightness as a channel and an A channel and a B channel. And if I switch the visibility of the A and B channels, you'll see on the lightness channel we get the detail, whereas on the A and B channels we just get color data. So it's a very accurate way of being able to convert colors in a less destructive way than if we stayed in RGB. I have a document that has the color that I want to use in it, and what I want to do is sample that color and get that color into my product shot. So first of all, using my paintbrush tool, I'm going to hold down my Alt key or Option key, depending on what platform you're on, Mac or PC. My cursor will change to an eyedropper tool. I'll just click my mouse and that sets that as my foreground color. If I'm being really accurate, I could, I guess, go into the image menu mode and convert that to lab color as well, but there's no color shift when you do it. So I'm just going to close that down. I don't need to save the changes. I've now loaded that ochre colour as my foreground colour, and I'm going to put that on a new layer. So I'm just opening up my layers panel. I'm going to create a new layer with the create new layer button, the plus sign at the bottom of the layers panel. I'm going to just paint with that paintbrush that colour. So that's the ochre colour, mustard colour I want these towels to become. Our next step is to sample the colours that we want to change, i.e. the green, and find out what the values of those that green is in lab, and then we're going to sample the ochre colour. So to do that we need to change from our paintbrush tool to a tool that's usually hidden behind the eyedropper tool called the Colour Sampler tool. This is a great tool for sampling colours in your images. I'll just zoom in quickly because I want to sample not a highlight of the green or a shadow of the green. I want to sample a green that is the green I want to change. It's a good idea to check at the top of your Photoshop work area that the sample size isn't set to a point sample, because you could end up not getting the right sort of green. I'm going to average this 11 by 11 actually, because I've got quite a bit of texture in this towel. So to get a clearer and better overall lab value for this green, I'll use an 11 by 11 sample. I'm just going to click on my image now, and you'll see the info panel pops up and gives me a #1 lab color value for that area of the image. And at this point I usually jot those values down. So I've got a luminance value of 73, an A value of -13, and a B value of 7. So we know they're the colors we don't want. Our next step, I'll just zoom out, is to sample the color that I do want to convert this towel to. So I'm going to click using my color sampler tool on that ochre. Might be worth just jumping up to, yeah, I'm on the right layer there. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see my second color sample. I've got some more LAB values. The L value is 76, so not a massive difference to the green really, but my A value is 5, so quite a difference there, but a really significant difference with the B value of 43. So the next steps that I need to take are changing where we're displaying the lab values of 73, -13 and 7 to 76, 5 and 43. So that I don't affect the white background of this image, I'm going to go to my background layer, and very quickly, because this tutorial isn't about how to make really good selections, but I'm going to very quickly select that product using my quick selection tool. That's a little paintbrush type tool in your selection tools. But as I say, this isn't a video about how to make good selections, so I'm not making a brilliant selection here. If I were to make a really good selection of a quite complicated product, I would generally go for the pen tool to draw a path and make a selection from that. But time is a bit short, and you don't want to learn about how to change the colour of a product and have to learn all about making selections. So I'm presuming you know how to make selections well. If not, you can always try with the quick selection tool. So that's my green towel selected. I'm now going to use an adjustment layer to adjust those colour values, and I'm going to use a curves adjustment, and curves is the third button in the adjustments panel. So I'm going to click on that. Because I've got my towel selected, my product selected, when I create a new adjustment layer that's a curve, it's automatically going to create a layer mask for me. I'll just show you that in my layers panel. So you can see my new curves panel has a layer mask already created from that selection. I'll just click on my layer thumbnail to bring up, double click on that to bring up my curves. Now the next step is really crucial in terms of being able to accurately adjust the green to the ochre. The first thing you need to do is click on this little pointy hand button that's called the targeted adjustment tool. It doesn't tell you that when you hover over it. It just says click and drag in image to modify curve, which means nothing really. But I'm just going to click on that pointy finger icon, the targeted adjustment tool. That's really important. And then I'm going to go over to my first wrong color area. I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit more. So that little target there, and I'm going to hold down on a PC Control Shift, on a Mac Command Shift keys, and then click as close to the center as that target as I can. Because what that does is it sets 3 points on my curve. You might just have noticed I've got a little white point now in my lightness curve, and if I look at my A channel, I've got one in there, and I've got another one in my B channel. So that Command Shift click set those 3 points. And what's interesting about those 3 points is they echo the values that we noted down for the green LAB values. So my luminance is showing at 73, and my A channel is showing at -13, and my B is showing at 7. We know that we actually need to convert those values to the ochre color lab values, which I've got at 76, 5 and 43. So now in my lightness channel, while that newly created point on the lightness curve is active, it says input 73. I'm going to change the output to 76. And I need to repeat that for the A channel. So my A channel input at -13 needs to be converted to an output of that ochre value on the A channel of 5. So that's got some of the green out. And then to get that final ochre colour, I'm going to go down to my B channel in the curves, and I'm going to change the input that was the B value in the wrong green colour from 7 to the right B value of 43 for the ochre. And there you can see the towels changed to that ochre. Now I'll zoom out a little bit. Sometimes, as you might notice at the top here, I've not got that much highlight in those towels. If you do think that you do need to brighten the towels up a little bit, you can always go back up to your lightness channel and just pull that top right point that represents the highlight areas across a little bit. It won't change the ochre colour because that's pinned over there, but it is changing those highlights. It's making those highlights whiter. It is also making the shadows darker as well. If you don't want those shadows darker, just go into the curve to the left of our placed point there and just lift that curve up a little bit, and that'll lighten the shadows as well. So you can lighten the highlights with the highlight end of the curve, and you can lighten the shadows and midtones by lifting up that curve the other side of our point. I'm going to zoom out now so you can see now that I'll just drop that a little bit because that, yeah, we'll just move that up a little bit. Might pull that a tiny bit because we've got some strange colours coming in, but you can see how we've actually managed to convert our towels to that ochre colour. Before we can complete this process, just bear in mind that when you reconvert to RGB, you will have to flatten this curved adjustment layer down. We don't need the layer with the swatch on, so I'm going to chuck that one away by dragging it over to the bin. But before I can save this as RGB, it does need to be flattened down. You could just go into the image menu mode command and say, let's go back to RGB image mode, but it will prompt you with a warning message saying changing modes will discard an adjustment layer, change mode anyway. Well, I wouldn't okay that because it would get rid of that curves channel. I would say flatten first. But just to be on the safe side, you could always just go into your layers panel menu and say flatten image before you then go into your image menu mode command and convert to RGB. So that's how you can change the color of a product to a very specific color that you want to reuse. I hope you found that helpful. Thanks for listening.